Hi guys.
Hey.
How you guys doing today? Another fine day for us.
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Gonna be getting a little bit of technology. We all have computer science degrees, so we figured might as well talk about something we all know.
Yeah.
Talked about automation a little bit last week, so I figured it would be a good topic of conversation for the day. That's for sure.
Definitely. I think it'll be a lot more fun.
Yeah, I mean, this is something we're all pretty familiar with.
Yeah.
I mean, as part of our jobs, we're just kind of keeping in tune with this sort of industry. So
Well, I think like the original episodes, it was more a lot of research and
Yeah.
a lot of fact checking. So it was like one of those things where like, why don't we just have a little fun with it? Talk about something we're passionate about, something we know.
yeah, something we don't need to do
Yeah.
a whole lot of research on to have
Yeah.
a conversation.
We kind of tried to do that a little bit with the conspiracy theories episode. where
Yeah.
it was like,
Keep it a little more lighthearted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we still definitely have to do a lot of research in that one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is definitely all raw and just kind of
Yeah.
coming at you with
And try
what
something
we're doing.
different.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So automation. I remember you saying something last episode about not quite agreeing with the statistics of how it was going to take a certain percentage of jobs.
It's not that I don't agree with the projection statistics. I think it's a little more far off than people think. Because a lot of like what the whole automation and the the universal basic income type of idea was like when there's no jobs.
Right.
So like because you still kind of have that, you can still kind of go out and find jobs if there's still jobs available.
Yeah, if they're available.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we worry about, I mean, it's hard to predict the future, right?
But the thing is, like, I get it
definitely.
because there's going to be a lot of displacement, and those people need.
Yeah, and we're already seeing it, right? Like Andrew Yang points it out, we've already automated
Yeah.
like 4 million
mean,
jobs in the last, decade or something.
I've talked
right?
about my mom. That
Yeah.
happened to her. So.
Yeah.
No, we know people that have had
Yeah.
their jobs automated and been laid off because of it. So it's
Yeah.
already happening. We know it's probably going to continue, and the projections that seem to come from like the credible research think tanks, that are looking at past data and trying to figure out how they can project into the future, say that like it's probably going to get worse than it is right now. So it's definitely something worth the discussion on. What is the possibility? What do we think the reality of our future is in this realm?
I also feel like that some of the automation jobs that are coming might need a little more work than. So we talk about like the self-driving cars.
Sure.
Like to me, it's scary because there's a lot of there's bugs. Obviously, software has bugs, so you really need to kind of.
Well, I had an interesting conversation with my girlfriend about this. We were talking about the self-checkouts.
Yeah.
She was saying, like,
sure.
like they were around like 10 years ago. Maybe, in certain places, like they popped up.
Yeah,
but they were
been-
terrible.
Yeah.
Like, you always go to one and then, like, even just like.
Yeah,
the
you
wrong
always
kind of-
need somebody to come over and help
Yeah,
you.
yeah. And nowadays, you go there and, like,
It's
I can't remember the
9
last
times out
time
of
I
10.
really needed someone to come
Yeah.
over. Like,
For sure.
they even do like remote kind of assistance nowadays. They're
Yeah.
like they're standing there watching you, so they'll just like take care of it.
They usually
you know?
have that one guy at the end that like checks
Yeah.
your receipts every now and then.
Yeah.
Which, if you
Whatever,
think
but
about it, that's one person
It's
to
still-
8 lanes.
But it's an example of a technology that is a replacement of jobs. I mean, like I said in that conversation with her, was like you used to have 5 cashiers,
Yeah.
and now you have one, cashier supervisor that owns
Manages,
the
like,
whole
10
lanes,
of
which
them.
is
Well,
5 self-checkout lanes.
Yeah.
Well, I actually read the statistics like on agriculture. They said in 1980s, a job that would take 26 people now takes 2.6 people.
Right.
Like
Oh, yeah.
so,
Because we've like just become more
because
efficient.
that was back,
Yeah.
back in the day, that was like the biggest.
Yeah, and it's not like humans are outputting more work now. I mean, yeah, maybe we're working more than we used to. People have 2 jobs and sometimes 3, but like the amount that computers and technology and robots and
Outputs
automation
is
are
much
making all of our work more efficient is very
And
real.
it's outputting a lot more.
I think that's one of the things we were even talking about too. It's that like more jobs will come, and that's one of the things too. Is like
Yeah.
as we do automate these things away, those people do try to find work in different areas a lot of the times, which kind of gets us to like be
Yeah.
able to advance as a civilization.
They're different. Yeah, that's the struggle is that they're different jobs.
Yeah.
Right. It's like the
Yeah.
people that have this job X are in this
Yeah, the people
field
who are
X.
displaced by automation
Yeah.
can't go get an automation job that's replacing them.
Oh,
Yeah, they're not
don't have the skill
skilled. They
set.
don't have the skills
Yeah.
for it, right? Typically, right?
Yeah.
But it's just weird to think about like what can come next if they do like automate these jobs and these people are looking for this work. Like, but I mean, most of like even our technology nowadays, like it was estimate or like people have made assumptions and took guesses. Like you're even talking about like
Yeah.
old Simpsons episodes where they
Right.
have like the iPhone, like the phone with the TV and like
Yeah.
recording each other, and now you have that in your pocket. It's just
Yeah.
crazy.
And I'm sure that some of those were off. but we're still pretty, on point
Oh,
about
yeah.
the principle.
There were some people even back in the 60s and 70s that made predictions of like the year 2000 that we would have flying cars and all this
Yeah.
stuff. And like,
Which I guarantee you, it's like.
like,
it's,
have you seen
it's
videos? Like
happens.
they
Yeah.
have like essentially
Just
what
no
would be
mass
a flying
commercial,
car.
yeah.
But yeah, you can't really, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's like that one drone motorcycle or whatever. You guys ever see
Right,
that
I
thing?
saw
It's
that.
like-
It's like a,
It's a motorcycle you just fly around on. It's nuts.
Well,
It's
there's
really
a
cool.
video of an Amazon blimp.
oh, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
the
Yeah, we-
Amazon blimp, and it's sending out drones to like have packages.
It's
and
freaky,
carrying them.
actually.
Really?
have you seen that?
I haven't seen that one.
Oh,
We
it's
should- we
apparently
should-
a week old or something.
We should post the link, like in
Yeah.
the
Yeah, that's-
All you see is this like, and it's cool just to see like an Amazon blimp.
It-
It's
oh, it's-
huge, it's high quality
Yeah.
video, and then all of a sudden,
You see,
these all of these
You hear
drones just
buzzing.
start coming out of
Yeah.
the bottom of it. And you're like, oh no!
and there's like 20, 30 drones
Yeah.
just flying. It's like this is petrifying,
it kind of is.
and that's what's happening.
One of them was actually carrying a box
Yeah.
too. It was
Well,
cool.
The thing is like I've even seen military videos. These were like fake computer generated videos, and it was
Okay.
apparently, but it was like talking about what can happen in the future, and it had something along those lines.
Yeah.
Except it was like a bigger drone. It wasn't quite a blimp.
Yeah.
But it dropped all these drones, and they had facial recognition technology and all this stuff.
Yeah.
It just went to everybody.
Which we
in
know
the area.
is like
It's
we know
awesome.
that
Yeah.
facial recognition
Oh, yeah.
software, like
It
at this
exists.
point, is not expensive.
Well,
Yeah,
listen.
I mean, I can unlock my phone in less than 2 seconds
Yeah.
just by putting my face to
Listen,
it.
did
It's crazy.
Right.
I read a Twitter conversation between JetBlue Airlines and a customer,
Okay.
and apparently she said like she didn't need a boarding
I
pass
saw that one.
because there's cameras that face recognize and was like letting her into the gates.
So
And,
they
like,
told
it-
her she didn't need it.
Yeah.
No, nobody told her. She just
Oh.
was like, "What happened to boarding passes? All this?" And JetBlue was like, we have like facial recognition software. You can opt out of it, but like they get the data from like the Department of Homeland Security.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's like now she's like even
That
if
sounds
I,
like a conspiracy. I
No,
would love to
it's-
look into that.
Yeah.
It's
but
actually
whoa.
it's
Yeah.
actually
This
the
just-
first
this just
one.
happened.
This is the first airport that actually enabled it. It's actually in
Huh.
Atlanta, so she doesn't need a pass anymore. It just pulls her
Yeah.
face.
but
from
like
the
she said,
regulations.
even if I opt out now, you still have my data.
Yeah.
Well,
like
I
my
mean,
my
doesn't stop it,
biometric
yeah.
information's being
I-
shared.
I think that's a little different though, because the government really has all of our pictures saved in the database already from our driver's licenses
Yeah.
and things
Yeah.
of that nature. So like, I think if she
Passports.
would
But still-
opt out, and the data's decentralized. So like, I mean, we're tech savvy, but the data is stored in the government system. So whenever she uses a facial recognition technology, it checks that name from the government's database if her name is in that system, if she didn't opt out. So she JetBlue itself doesn't have the picture of her face. The government does.
Yeah.
And they only
But
pull
still,
that picture at the time.
you're getting
that
into
she
dicey
did-
territory.
Yeah,
she
so
opt
they've
out.
they've confirmed their identity in TSA, and then
Yeah.
they just send a request to the database in the government that says
Yeah.
like
We're
we're
agent.
JetBlue, we're asking about this individual. They just give them a picture, and then they confirm because they're
But
looking at the
isn't
person.
isn't this kind of scary?
It is scary.
No, it is.
It
It is definitely
Yeah.
scary. It's
I mean-
interesting. The innovation. I don't
Yeah.
think it's as. The innovation is awesome. And I think
Oh,
it's
yeah.
a
Yeah.
good thing that we're doing things of this nature. And
Yeah, it makes our lives easier.
it does. It really does.
I have a point to add to yours. I think like all of what's going on is just amazing and it's incredible.
Yeah,
But you flip that script that somebody has malice intent.
right.
That's what's scary.
Yes.
Actually, speaking of that malice intent, when we were talking about the conspiracy
Oh,
theory
yeah.
episode, when we were talking about the NSA, so I remember you
Yeah.
had that standpoint that you think the NSA is
Yeah.
storing more of our data and like more has that eagle eye kind of
Like
looking
they're doing
watch on-
something other than what
Yeah,
they're saying.
they're like monitor and recording
Yeah, like they were supposed to
everything.
squash this project 3 times and they still were
Right,
using
right.
like yeah.
So I think it's people that are like a little more worried about that sort of thing that are kind of against this sort of technology. I mean, apparently,
I mean-
whereas I
No,
kind
but
of
you
see it as like an awesome convenience.
But like
more or
you
less
see
as
these
a-
movies
as a hindrance.
like Terminator.
Yeah.
Like Terminator
No,
2.
yeah, Skynet.
Like that, but that's possible. Like
Oh.
if somebody had the
Yeah,
right amount of
maybe.
money and the wherewithal to get what's needed to be done or get the genius that they need,
Yeah.
they could do that.
See, it's a good thing that Elon Musk is the one that's at the forefront. Like, he's
Right?
such a moral person
Yeah.
that like no one ever doubts or like questions whether or not he
Yeah.
has malice intent with
Yeah,
what
we
he
just
does,
hope like
you know?
nobody pisses them off enough, like that
Yeah,
he just.
but he's not
flips
the
script.
only one in that
Yeah.
space, and there are
Well, you look at
there are-
Amazon, like Bezos. And all,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even call Jeff Bezos like a bad actor. It's just that
No, I'm saying,
There are-
but if he has,
he has a lot of power.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If he had just the intent, if he just flipped it and been like,
Yeah.
you know what, I want to rule the world.
I mean,
it can be like it can be doable.
another bad one on that is the phone companies. And I mean, you were saying Skynet. I mean, 5G is supposedly being like the
Yeah.
next
Yeah.
close thing to it. And
Yeah,
they're
you
the ones
told-
that
you
own
told me
all the
about that.
infrastructure about that. I mean,
Yeah. I mean,
pretty nuts.
I've heard conspiracy theories in the past with 4G and even 3G to some extent that like people were worried that those energy waves were going to be bad for their health.
So,
But now with 5G, that there are like legitimate government studies that are like, wait, is this actually bad
Yeah,
for your
like
health?
we need to pump the brakes a little bit.
from like 3G to 2G and stuff like that, you're talking like the 90 hertz and stuff like that.
Okay.
5G goes to like 900.
Yeah.
Like it's
It's like-
almost like 100 times.
So it's
It's a
just like
completely
pure
different
radiation.
scale.
Well, and that's how technology advances, right? That's why
Yeah, you
we're
need more power.
Like,
Yeah.
we're not, as like humans and just normal non-technology people, are not accustomed to how fast it's moving.
Yeah.
I mean, being in this industry, it's really easy for us to see that like year over year, it
Right.
actually picks up on an almost exponential basis sometimes.
But if you think about it, we started, with the products we have with like the legacy software, but now we're getting in like quantum computing, which is probably
Yeah.
much more harmful. It's a
Well,
lot
it's more
stronger.
powerful.
Yeah.
And it's all like,
But
these
I'm
are
sure
just
like
tools.
I'm
you
sure
know?
like the output or whatever is not good for a person, but as we further technologically, we're going to need that higher power, like potential like nuclear type power.
Quantum computing is a little bit of a weird beast though, because it all is dealing with like qubits, and I mean that's very technical. Like zeros and ones is how computers run.
Right.
Well, like quantum computing is zeros and ones and possibly a 0 or 1, and it
Yeah.
can be both options.
Yeah.
So
But-
like all software has to be rewritten from the ground up.
Yeah,
before
yeah. The
quantum
architecture is completely different with
Yeah.
quantum
But I'm
computing.
also thinking, how do you power anything? You need some sort
Energy.
of source, and there's some output from that source. So as we get more power, or we need to power stronger, like technological components,
Yeah.
eventually we're going to need a stronger energy source to power that.
So you're saying you're talking about nuclear energy, or
Yeah.
you're saying just like
causes
that-
global warming right there.
that type of stuff. But that's the type of stuff that
Yeah.
essentially we're going. We need stronger computers, so we need a stronger source of energy.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I've never even really tried to look at like how are we meeting our energy demands? Like, do we have a massive energy surplus that we're like selling to Canada or
I
other
honestly-
countries in any way?
So that's like a weird thing, and it's really also like as they're making things better too, they are making them more power efficient on
Right.
some things as
Oh,
well.
right, yeah.
So like a lot of older computers required like higher wattage power supplies. You're
Yeah.
looking about light bulbs that used to use way
Sure,
more
yeah,
power.
that's a
than
good
the
example.
Yeah.
New,
Yeah.
more efficient light
But-
bulbs.
Yeah, we have
But-
LED light bulbs that say they're going to last 15 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
crazy.
That's
Yeah, a light bulb used to go out in like a month or two.
yeah, like
Yeah.
yeah.
But
You
if
have
you
to have,
but
like,
if you think
box.
about it, like to make some of those eco-friendly products, it's putting out a hell of a lot of pollution with factories to make it.
Yeah, I mean, I think in most cases they're looking at the net impact,
Yeah.
right? Obviously, that you're going to use the same light bulb for 15
Yeah.
years. You're not going to be throwing
And
them
on
away
a
every
mass scale,
6 months.
yeah, it makes sense.
I'm sure it's
So-
still a little bit more beneficial in the long run as we do make these
I
products.
feel
Well, and
it
it's
would
so
have
more
to be.
it's so much, and like back to your point, it's so much more convenient for
Yeah.
us as
Yeah.
a society, as human beings in this world, because if we can alleviate those things, then
Focus
we
on
can focus on the things that matter more to us now in this day and age, which are like this, like dealing with automation, even
Yeah.
like in a meta kind of way. Like, yeah, the technology is great and it gives us X, Y, and Z, but like, what are we gonna do with that extra time or that
I think we also just have to be careful with how extreme AI can get. Because like you look at Google, you look at Facebook, like they've shut down AI programs because they start developing their own language.
Yeah.
I don't know how misunderstood that was, and it's not like these computers were just talking back and forth and something
Yeah,
that
they were.
like, people did. They were talking back and forth, but it's
In
not
code.
like.
Their own language. They were
So
talking back
what
and
they
forth.
do is, in order to send the data faster and more efficiently, they would come up with codes to shorten that data to shorter lengths and
But-
encrypt it,
but-
and then make it shorter encryptions, and then they came up with these strings that then the programmers could no longer understand.
Yeah, because
Oh, is that the basis of why they shut that down?
Correct.
there was two
Because
different
it's-
like software platforms communicating with each other in words that made no sense.
It wasn't the language that
It
they
wasn't
had
like
written.
readable words,
Right.
like it was words that
Yeah.
we know, but it was just
Well, I've
gibberish
seen
words.
them do like AI where they say like they can ask an AI program to give them like a quote on a certain topic. And
Yeah.
it just like will farm out these like
Yeah.
right now, and this is like kind of like the
Google.
self-checkout deal. Like the AI, the sentences that I've seen put together, these quotes or whatever, right? Be like, give me a quote about baseball. And it's a completely original thing. You know, it's not anything that's been plagiarized. It scans all of the data on the internet about baseball, and it comes up with something that's like quote unquote original. You know,
Oh, sure.
but even still, those things don't like you read them sometimes. You're like, what? Like that's
It's like
not a
it's like
sentence.
I teach my bot or I had my bot watch 1,000 hours of
Yeah, those
that,
things.
that
yeah.
type of stuff.
Well, like there's
Yeah.
like like even the artist bots and stuff like that are pretty crazy. Like the ones that like draw artist pictures, like artistry and
Right,
stuff
right.
like that, or write a book like short stories using just like
Well-
automation, AI, and crawling.
Well, there's
It's
like
nuts.
Twitter bots, like these verified Twitter bots that are like celebrities, but they're just bots.
They're
but
just-
like the two of them started fighting with each other, and it was just
I think I heard about
hilarious.
this.
It's
Something happened
cool
with
to look
Jordan
up.
Peterson where he got into a fight with
With
a
a
bot,
bot?
and he didn't know it was actually a bot, and like they called him out in like a subsequent interview, and he was like,
Yeah.
I
Not-
realized that.
not my
and
best
now I know
moment.
better, you know.
Not my
That's
best
hilarious.
moment.
Yeah.
But yeah, I forget who it was, but I think it was just two celebrities, like two celebrity bots going at each other.
Yeah.
It was
It
awesome.
takes you back to the day, like when you were using like AOL Instant
Yeah,
Messenger
right.
or
Talking
whatever,
to
and there was those
yeah,
like
talking to
random
the bot.
text bots.
Yeah,
that
we
you
used
could
to have
type
to troll
to.
people by ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah.
or troll bots. Like,
Troll
Yeah.
bots.
Yeah. But no, I mean, you know, there's a pace to all of this that's like, it's kind of getting to a point now where even people that aren't like us, that aren't in the technology realm, have to just kind of like step back and look at it
Yeah.
all and go like we were talking about VHS tapes earlier, right?
Yeah.
Like, we were like, when did, like I
Well,
was a
no.
child, we had
Well,
VHS
well, no.
tapes, and we seem like we're so far beyond.
Well, no,
that
what's
now,
crazy
you know?
is like, to me, what I was saying is like you can go to Kmart.
Yeah.
I think Kmart's just still around. Like
Yeah,
there's
way
still
over
some
there,
here.
just
Like,
like
it's,
the VHS.
but like they have a VHS tape, and I'm like, it's 2019. We have the craziest advances since these VHS tapes.
Yeah.
Like in such a short span
Mm-hmm.
of time.
I mean, even like my grandfather, he used to still listen to 8-track tapes. He would get up to press the buttons on the TV rather than using.
it's nostalgia
like,
at a certain point,
Yeah.
right?
well, I mean, it wasn't even nostalgic for him. He wouldn't use DVDs.
Right.
He
He
was
would
just
still watch
old-fashioned,
those
yeah.
VHSs.
Yeah, yeah.
He would never touch the
I need
computer.
that
and it's just,
analog.
he was at the craziest era.
I need that
like,
analog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just nuts to think
Yeah.
that like he watched all
Yeah,
these
and-
changes.
and-
because he
and-
used to listen to radio.
In a
Yeah.
couple generations, like we've.
It's
Yeah,
exponential.
and we're
It is
watching it
100%
happen like in
exponential.
front of our eyes now. Like every new
I mean-
iPhone that comes out is like, what are they gonna add next? You know,
Oh.
some groundbreaking piece
But I mean,
of
I
technology.
was talking about Sophia,
the robot, yeah.
who has citizenship
Oh,
in
yeah.
Saudi Arabia, and
Yeah.
probably has like more
That
rights
thing's creepy.
than like
Yeah.
females
So
in
they,
that country.
that same company that made Sophia also made like a male counterpart, and they did this like sort of like a lecture about the robots a little bit. It was like maybe a 10-minute intro, and then they just like let them have a conversation on stage in front of this big audience, and it was like Sophia, the female robot, and then because she's like the most advanced, and then she was talking to their like previous version of the robot, so like slightly more dumb.
That
You know,
was the male version.
The male version,
the
yeah.
first model.
And, yeah, and it was some of it was like the guy had to jump in and kind of go like, "Oh, do you mean this?" You know, and then got him back into
Yeah.
their groove of like whatever they were talking about. But they were having like
Yeah.
a seemingly organic conversation.
I wonder what that bedroom life is like.
I don't know. Like I feel like they don't have to be attracted to each other.
But
No, I'm sure
I don't mean
they
to
don't, but
distract
it's
from the point. You're getting at the point that she has been granted.
yeah, it's in I think it's Saudi
Yeah.
Arabia, which she probably has like more rights than women in that
So
country.
she's been
And
granted
that's what's
citizenship
scary.
of a country. She, we're saying this robot is a she,
Yeah, that
has
is
been
nuts.
granted citizenship in Saudi Arabia.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And like we're getting into like, do we make laws?
I would
for
love to
robots
know their
now?
reasoning behind that.
Yeah, I have.
I mean, if you're looking at like the things that we've done in history and like how some of the things in Back to the Future and these old shows
Yeah.
are actually happening in today's day and age.
Yeah.
Now, like our movies that were back in the future back then are like iRobot or like things of that
Yeah.
nature. Like
That
I mean,
stuff's about to start to come true.
That's
Like,
I
that's
mean,
like
I
the
stand
what's the
for you.
Boston Robotics or what's that one with they're like the horse looking robots.
Oh,
that-
and they all don't fall over. Or anything
yeah,
like
you
that.
can like
Well,
kick
there's-
them and they won't fall.
Well,
or
there's
something.
these ones that they can carry 31 pounds
Yeah.
by themselves.
They
but
have, like, the
but if
backpack
you
thing.
link them together, they can carry up to like 15,000 pounds.
They hauled a truck. I actually
Yeah.
saw that they
Yeah.
hauled the 16 wheeler.
Yeah, literally.
Oh,
They can only
wow.
hold 31 pounds by themselves, but if you hook up like 12, it was like a sled type line.
So are they like robot-looking robots?
Those
Yeah.
are the dog robots.
Yeah.
Those
With the
dog
bent
robots,
legs.
they walked up in a pot, like in lines of them on the both sides of the tractor trailer truck and picked it up.
Yeah. That's
And, like,
and
they all
that's the
connected
kind
to
of
each
that's
other.
the scary thing is like maybe like I might be able to take on one robot.
Yeah.
Okay.
But 12?
Or when there's
that
a-
are all synced together and
Like when there's an
coordinating
army of Amazon drones like flying at your head.
Well,
like,
they do that. You've shown me the drone things. They basically program the drones to do like light shows and stuff. Where
Oh,
they'll
yeah.
like they'll get them to go up in the air and they program them all like a light show
And
at
you
a
do this
concert.
all,
You know.
like, previously, prior, and it's just so easy.
Yeah.
Um,
But that's the scary stuff. Is like how you can easily produce a robot over and over that's all connected together.
Well, once you mix that with AI,
well, that's the thing is we're almost
Yeah.
there. When you're talking about code and how development works, is you get these companies that make these pieces of the puzzle,
Mm-hmm.
and then they become open source once it's more available, and they come out with a better
Yeah.
version. I mean, not all of them
It's
do.
open source is making a comeback though.
Yeah.
Because they started realizing like, wait, we all kind of benefit from that.
Yeah.
You know.
And even if they make
Yeah.
them pay like royalties and don't really open it up
Yeah.
until they like pay them
There's
certain money.
different licensing
Like,
models.
we
yeah.
already have the movement. We already have the artificial intelligence that's
Mm.
almost there. We already have almost every concept to get these things up and running
Yeah.
right now. It's just the cooperation between the companies that kind
Yeah,
of
and
make it exist.
And I mean, like we were originally talking about the sort of the timeline, you know,
Yeah.
is like when can we expect that to be operational, affordable, like actually bought into by businesses and like ultimately replacing human workers
Yeah.
in our society? Because
Well,
you know that's a concern for sure because it's definitely
It's
we
on the
see it with
horizon.
the self-driving trucks, right? It's
Yeah.
cheaper for them to have a robot do it and not have number one liability
Yeah.
and number two the limitations of what a human brings, you know.
so as for like the walking around talking robots and everything like that, that's not going to really be a part in automation. I think it's going to mostly start as like a
I think
mean,
it's
What if
gonna
they
be-
open source
especially
that
for
software?
retail.
Why wouldn't they put it in there?
I could see it in like maybe some retail stores or something along those lines, but I think there's more efficient ways of automation. Like the self-checkout lines and stuff along those natures are way more realistic to have, and they're more efficient than having
What?
to sit there and talk to like an artificial intelligence
Yeah.
robot.
Well, I think
Sure.
that's more for like the social aspect.
Yeah.
Essentially, eventually, they're going to need some social aspect to, you know.
Yeah, their personalities suck
No,
right
but think
now.
once these businesses like fully automating jobs, there's going to be competition. So how do we set
Right.
ourselves apart from the other automation company? Well, make it a little more personal. So we're like,
You just
gonna
got to go
in
in with a
reverse.
knife and just like cut your hand and be like, "See, I'm actually a real human."
And the thing is it's they're dumb when
No,
like,
they just put robots.
they're,
Yeah, they don't want us.
Sophia's,
Yeah.
they sound like really unrealistic and stuff like that when they don't have a set goal and stuff like that. But if you're looking at like the Google voice recognition and stuff like that technology that they're using in their callback services and stuff along
Where you
those
can like
lines,
make appointments for with
yeah,
Google Home.
those
I have
sound really
that.
realistic.
Yeah.
Like if they added that in, that's a pretty good voice.
And
for an
that's
AI.
really like those are the kinds of things that change the space that we're talking about is when two seemingly disparate technologies like someone finds a way to put them together.
Yeah.
So you have like these talking robots
Yeah.
that are just
Well,
like they look like humans. They kind of talk like humans. They seem to be able to have like an original conversation, but they don't get up and walk around. They're
Yeah.
not lifting 35 pounds. They're not doing. But there's another company that is doing that.
Yeah.
You know
So
what I
you
mean?
can just put those
and those
together.
robots don't have any personality. They
Mhm.
can't talk at all. But you know, like these two things are gonna come together. Someone's
Well,
gonna
think,
do
like,
that.
with-
There's so many aspects.
With like the callback stuff, eventually it's gonna be just robots talking to robots.
Yeah.
Like, hey, have my robot call your robot.
yeah.
need
It
to
used
set
to
an
be my
appointment at
people call
3.
your
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
We don't need them anymore.
But I think we also wanted to touch on like social media too.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many aspects to like this technological boom that we're in the middle of. I mean, I feel like we're actually just at the beginning of because this isn't something that
Which to me is also scary. If
Yeah,
you
like,
think this is the beginning.
this
like,
either ends in like massive catastrophe.
Yeah.
Like actually, Elon Musk has talked about this eventualities of automation and AI and stuff. Like either it leads to a massacre of human beings, or we become integrated with robots where like we are actually
Kind
you
of.
know sort of half robots in
Yeah.
of ourselves, and then there's this like slim possibility of us just like living peacefully. You know,
Yeah.
in the long run, right
Well,
beside robots.
I think there's also the other possibility that there is already other life out there more intelligent than us. I think that's also one of the things that if they're, but
Well, I mean, aliens? I don't know.
yeah, I mean, well, of aliens,
what if-
like if we're being monitored, if we were like an experiment or something along that, I think that's even.
Oh,
Like,
because
one of the
Elon
other-
Musk has talked about us being a simulation.
Simulation.
the simulation,
Simulation
or
theory.
along those lines.
That's another big one too.
Yeah, but we're not about to get into
Yeah,
that.
we're not.
Yeah.
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 So you
That's
can,
the
you
Matrix,
can, you can search
basically.
in on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
But-
that's.
That's not. It's the thing about that conversation is like, if we entertain it, that's cool. But like, ultimately, we can't get past whatever that filter is, which is like our world, and then like the overlords are like watching us and like playing video
Oh
games or
no,
whatever.
for sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
We can't ever get past that, so we might as well just like talk about our world. You know?
yeah, no,
Yeah, exactly. We're in this bubble. Let's
Yeah.
just enjoy this bubble.
But back to automation,
Back to automation.
real stuff for human beings
Yeah.
on Earth.
yeah.
It's not gonna slow down,
No.
right?
no,
It's only getting cheaper. It's only getting more efficient. It's only becoming more practical and more helpful
And it's
and
profitable.
beneficial.
More
right?
profitable.
Yeah, all of these things. Like the only downside that we really see to it is the fact that we might be out of jobs, or we might be murdered by a robot.
Oh, you know,
or something,
that's the only things that's the downfall of it. You know.
Yeah, and we're just kind of guessing about where it could go,
my
but
point is like we know that software only does what it's told. it's
yeah,
just
but
code,
AI
it's just
kind of
follow.
changes that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Once we get into like the genius type of AI type of technology,
Machine learning, yeah.
yeah, that's where we need to really keep an eye on. That's why
And there
companies
are
like
like
Google and Facebook have shut down these programs.
Well, there are like machine learning languages that have been written for innovators that could be just like us.
Yeah.
yeah,
To start programming machine learning. Like all it takes is one homegrown genius that gets
One
a hold of some
proprietary.
open source machine learning code and finds a way to create something that's like way beyond
Off the
anything.
scales.
Did
Did you
And-
see how the AI is doing deepfakes?
deep fakes.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah.
Explain that.
It's the videos.
They make videos.
Oh.
It literally is AI that crawls the internet for all of the pictures of like Barack Obama's face.
I
is
think
the
that's the one I
example
saw.
that's-
Yeah.
that it gives.
Yeah.
And it's just
So
somebody
doesn't it
else
read
sitting
through
in a
like
chair.
millions of pictures and
Yeah.
was able to
And it
put
makes a
video.
new video.
It makes a new
Right,
video
yeah.
with one video, and it replaces the face on
scary.
that person with that person's face, and it looks
Wait, but so
Like,
you,
just like
you
it's
could take
talking.
like, so the idea here is like you could take George Bush and
Yes.
what something he said, you get that video, and then you get another video of Obama, and you can make Obama say
What
all
George
of the
Bush
same
said.
exact things that George Bush
Yeah,
And
said.
it's like
exactly.
it's Obama's voice and it's his
It
face.
looks exactly
Yeah,
like him, yeah.
it literally cuts
I've
his
seen
face out and
those,
put it on him,
And that's
it's-
actually very
it's
concerning.
creepy. Some of them are
Yeah,
pretty
'cause-
funny, like because they just
Well,
put like
yeah.
random guys' faces on, like I think it was like Daenerys off of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
she was saying a speech or something. It was just weird, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
but that's what's scary.
dangerous.
It is
because
dangerous.
you can fake anything at that point.
yeah,
Anything.
Which, let's not kid ourselves, that technology exists right now.
Yeah.
no, and it's open source. You can literally
Is it really?
people can literally go on there and make deep fakes. Right, the guy that was showing the example of the video said he just pulled it right off of GitHub or Stack Overflow or something along those lines.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, the fact that that's open.
yeah.
Oh my God.
It makes me like think what has already been.
Well, yeah, what have we already seen that was like already a fake?
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's gonna pay a lot of money.
Anybody with that, dude, if you and I, if we had that software and we were like, wait, we can just click this button and just do that,
Yeah.
we would have some fun with it. Hopefully not, like we wouldn't like send it out into the world to like cause havoc,
Yeah.
but like we would have some fun with it. And if we handled it irresponsibly, it could end up causing a rift, right?
Yeah.
And
Like,
it could, but granted,
Maybe.
you can only do this with very like prominent social figures.
because it needs
It
all
needs
of their
the
data.
images online to
I
be
see.
able to crawl and get enough.
But that's the
pictures of that
thing. It
individual
gears
to
itself
create that.
towards like doing something, let's say, in the political realm.
Yeah,
Like let's
no, it
make
does.
Trump say this, or let's
Yeah,
make
but I mean, think about it. You get-
AOC say that.
Yeah.
Like
You mix that with like a facial recognition, you can kind of.
Well, I mean, honestly, there's probably ways to like splice videos too. So like if anybody had a video of anybody doing a conversation, they just
Yeah.
cut a JPEG of every single section in that video in order
Yeah.
to make that deep fake.
yeah, and so like that brings up just a question of like what at that point what can you believe? Like once that event happens, like, and it probably will happen on a national, let's say maybe even global scale,
or
where
somebody puts out a video that's fake,
and then it's
believes
found
it.
out that was a completely fake video.
But something,
But that
happened because of it.
exposes that we have this technology, and now everybody's thinking, well, now what can I?
Well, I'm
believe?
thinking even with something bad happens because of something that's put out like that.
I
Yeah.
think we're gonna get to a point where we need some type of digital certificate for like your
like
identity.
high encryption
A high
stuff.
encryption digital certificate for
Yeah.
your personal identity, for even social media
Yeah.
platforms, stuff along those natures.
The encryption is actually getting better
Yeah.
in pace with the way that the industry is kind of like expanding and growing. But it'd be nice if I'm sure there's some very, very complex encryption algorithms out there that would do really well in where we are right now. But it'd be nice
Oh,
for
yeah.
us to be ahead of the game.
It would be.
You
What are
know?
you talking about? Like 128-bit AES can take like 16 times the time
And that's
the world has
only,
been
how old
alive.
is that? Like that only came out.
That's not even like that's like I think the baseline for encryption, if I'm not
128?
Because we have 256-bit encryption.
Okay, then that's what I was thinking about. I know that there's like sort of a recent expansion of
256
encryption.
AES, I believe. Yeah.
The
Okay.
thing is our CPUs are getting more powerful every day.
But the
and
thing
as
is-
our CPUs get powerful, they can crack that faster.
No.
If you get into quantum computing,
yeah.
No, but they still said
that's
you'd need
different.
like trillion, like 10 times the amount of money in the world.
Well, and so when you mention quantum computing, I've read plenty of
Right.
predictions that say if this can do what we theorize it can, we just need to do more like R&D to get to the point where it's operational like that. But it will be able to crack that encryption
Oh, yeah.
in the matter of, let's say, minutes or even hours. In which case,
Yeah.
we're
We
in
need
a
a
lot
better
of trouble.
standard.
You know, it's like we almost need quantum computing to remain solely like our encryption method and not be something that can just
Like
be
a
in the
commercial
hands of
product.
someone. Yeah.
Well, that's like the architecture and everything of quantum computing too. I don't know how it's going to actually be able to kind of connect to the same networks or anything along those lines yet. I mean, it's still starting
Well,
at the
you
base
look at like
CPUs and
IPv6
stuff.
and stuff like
Yeah,
the
like-
internet addressing. They're still long off on that.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I've made enough integrations in software
That
to
it's
know
possible.
that you
Yeah.
can build some kind of gateway that's just like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that takes that data from this other architecture and then converts it and then sends it to the quantum computer
Yeah,
and
but
then
I
it does
agree
what it
with
needs.
TJ, it would probably take a shit
That's
ton
going to
of
take
time.
a while.
But
to
they're
do that
working on
architecture.
that.
Yeah,
Oh,
they
yeah.
are working.
You
on
know,
it.
like we don't work on quantum computers. We don't know where they're at right now, but that's a constantly evolving space
Definitely.
because that's
Yeah.
just like the bleeding edge of technology in terms
That's-
of computing.
Because
So,
go ahead.
that's like one of the biggest reasons why it is taking so long, though, is because it's so hard to get people into it because it's starting over at like the machine language and starting
Yeah.
over writing
Right.
code in literally 1 zeros and
Yeah, because
a
like with
line.
CPU chips, it's like the architecture and just different architectures.
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
But like I'm pretty sure Andrew Yang has a policy with quantum computing and encryption, like
Yeah.
bumping up the funding for that.
And
Yeah.
I was surprised by this. I think I mentioned it to DJ that I was surprised to read that Trump actually has like a special. There's a cabinet member that is in charge of a council that I suppose exists within the cabinet that's dedicated to AI in America. And I don't know really what they've been doing, but I mean, I think I heard somewhere that he actually added a cabinet position or
I feel like
two as
that's
well.
either really good or really bad.
Well, and that's the thing.
Depending
It's
on
like,
what they're
yeah,
doing, yeah.
is it geared towards like protecting
Protecting.
us, or is it trying to operationalize it and make it like
Yeah,
a tool for the
like
government?
a military type.
Yeah,
I mean, well,
they're
that's
probably doing both.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
but
Even Musk said he was like, or was it Musk or was it Zuckerberg that were pretty much like, we need to do something about AI now, put policy into place. We
I'm
need
pretty
to
sure they
start-
both
that was
probably
Musk.
have.
Actually, Elon Musk like was petitioning and trying to. I think it was during the Obama administration. He actually was on, and that may be how Andrew Yang got involved with Obama as well. Was with the technology sector that they were trying to, and maybe it was Obama that created the cabinet position for AI.
I could see that happening.
Because I remember them doing like having a big push to get like people like Andrew Yang and Elon Musk together to wrap their heads around what the government should or could do about AI. But yeah, I mean, it's good that we're actually like dedicating positions in the government
Yeah.
to deal with this. But like, I don't really know what they've done in any way in terms of policy to change any of the outcomes that we theorize, right?
So,
Excuse me.
Just trying to break away from AI a little bit.
Yeah,
Let's talk about
what
where
else?
we get the data for the AI from. Social media. We started to go
Oh,
right into
yeah.
that from
Yeah.
what he was saying,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
we actually got sidetracked again.
No, that's
but,
fine.
Well,
Yeah, so
dude,
you know, in the deepfake thing, it's like it scans, it crawls
Oh, yeah,
all
it's
of the internet.
all
right?
your Facebooks.
Gets all the videos.
All your videos.
No,
all
but
your...
think about it. Who would have thought like social media, like the MySpace, Facebook, that
Yeah.
type of things would be billion-dollar industries?
I
Because
mean,
nothing's free.
I don't know if did MySpace get ever get like $1 billion
No,
industry?
so I'm saying
I
the
don't know.
social network aspect.
Well, I
Like
mean,
that-
Yeah,
Yeah.
just that there would be the social
like
networking
Google
industry.
started as a search engine. Facebook started as hot or not,
Yeah,
and Amazon started as like
A
a
bookstore.
like a library, online library.
yeah,
So like it's hard because these aren't like Facebook now. It's not even just a social network. They're coming up with so many innovations.
Yeah.
They own the Oculus Rift now.
Yeah.
What's social
Yeah.
networks
WhatsApp.
inside of VR is insane.
Yeah.
Instagram.
those mergers, like we were saying earlier, how these technologies come together and they make this thing that's now a little more dangerous,
It
right?
is crazy, and that's how it's just them buying this section of code
Yeah.
because they know it will integrate well with their stuff.
Mhm.
And I mean,
Which
it's
is
just-
smart business.
No, it is.
Sure.
It's just wait until those robot companies start doing it to those other robot companies. That's all.
Like the
The legs buying the.
No, I was thinking about
personality or-
the two celebrity bots that were fighting each other.
What if
Well,
they
yeah.
bought them and they just weren't working together? They just started.
No, but your data is like it's all out there now.
No, it is.
Yeah, I mean,
Like you talk
it's hard
about
for
you
people
talk
that,
about something.
that aren't that don't write code, that don't work on a computer all day every day. Like it's hard for them to really wrap their head around like
How much?
what could be done with all of that. Like
Oh yeah.
when you realize that like these algorithms can be written to enhance themselves, to learn and make predictions and then get better at what they're doing without anyone like me or you like working with the software.
Yeah.
That it can just naturally learn things.
I feel like
if you
that'd be
just
like
give it
exponential too. Like
the
as it
data.
goes,
Yeah,
as it keeps learning, it just keeps learning even better.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
it's all built off of what it already knows
Mhm.
and it continues to grow. But yeah, the social media, like we're constantly putting stuff out there, things we're interested in, places that we've been, checking in.
And then like
all
it's
that
too
stuff.
tempting not to do. And like it's so integrated with
Yeah.
websites and everything you do and
It's
all
everywhere,
that stuff that like you can't even really opt out.
guess
So
people
much
do.
anymore.
I guess the best way to put it, like in a sense, like on like a programming language perspective, like these different platforms and Google and Facebook, they essentially create like a digital copy of yourself, like so that
Oh,
way
yeah.
they can pull up you with everything you like and all of the ads that you click on and all
Right.
of this information.
Well, what they
about
do
you.
is they data mine that to sell to people like you or your
Yeah.
friends or see the trends and they can target.
Yeah, and see, there's an interesting thing there, just as a really small tangent here, because with social media, there's like this prevalence for people to be inauthentic. It's like you
Yeah.
put on your good
Yeah.
self, for all of the public
You're
to
showy.
see. You know what I mean? And I tend to not really do that. I at least try not to do that. I try to be as authentic as I can on social media with anything that I do. And in thinking about this, it makes me like envious of the people that are being inauthentic.
Oh yeah.
Because then I'm like, well, they're getting your data, but it's not actually like who you really are anyway. So like,
So they're
who
getting your
cares,
actual data? Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, I'm like, I'm just trying to be like honest and normal, and then they're scraping all that data, and then they truly do know these things about me.
I mean,
you
it
know?
used to just be cookies. You could just clear that.
Yeah.
You can't really clear your Facebook like that.
Unless you
Well,
delete all
well
of
like
it,
I
yeah.
said, like
Yeah.
unless you're like disconnecting and cutting yourself off from
Yeah.
technology in itself, then you opt into those programs and you opt into their terms. And like you look at if you open your phone and look at your app updates, like check out Facebook and Messenger, they don't put what they update. They just say we're bringing you new features and blah
Oh,
blah
yeah.
blah. They never specify what it is.
Yeah, like my texting app gives me updates. So like I get a whole
Yeah, you
release
get a
notes,
whole list.
like fixed bugs about
also
this,
check
added
out-
this feature,
Yeah.
did this.
And also
yeah.
uninstall and reinstall and check the permissions you give it. Like
Oh, you mean they go back to default or?
no, like if you uninstall
Oh,
the
'cause
app
it has
and you
to
check
ask
the
you again.
permissions
Yeah.
to install, it's a laundry list of a lot.
It's
of
like, yeah, now they
basic
started doing
stuff.
pages because I've downloaded apps where there's actually 12 agreements that I have to give. Like I have to give, agreement to my microphone, to my
It just
camera,
makes you
to my
think-
photos.
It
to
makes
like,
you think, why am I signing all this?
you're
There's something
saying,
going
yes,
on.
I
yeah.
agree.
I think with like Facebook and
Yeah.
stuff like that too, though, like they are working on a lot of different products at the time, and sometimes they're developing something on like their Facebook app that they eventually want to work with this, but it doesn't really make any changes to you right now. But
No, but this has been for like the past 2 years.
Yeah.
Every time I update Facebook and Messenger, there's no
Well, those sorts
information.
of things are like basically, you know, Facebook can do all of these different functions. Like you can upload your photos, so it needs to have permission from you to access the photo folder on your phone and be able to put photos up onto Facebook.
Yeah, I'm
Same with
definitely
your
not-
microphone if it's going to record
But-
audio or
yeah.
video. You know, like
But my point is like, if they're like if they can't list it, how much are they changing and what is it affecting?
they can't list what.
If they can't list like the
update
fixes that they're
logs.
changing.
I think it's also a lot different too, because they
Yeah.
have like 40 or 50 different development teams probably working on so many different updates. I think Facebook's update list, if they put it, it would be like a Bible every week almost.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
it's just a huge.
Don't you think that's fair? All the rights that we
So
give
have
them,
you
we should
confirmed
know?
though? Like, is there no way to get their release notes?
I haven't checked into
Yeah,
it.
because like
Yeah,
there's a lot
I'm
of
sure
there's
there's-
a lot of
there
like
could
Spotify does it.
Yeah.
A lot of other big apps
Yeah.
have a community site where you can
Like
go and you
release
can
note.
vote on new features and you can see that what releases
But I
have what
see,
features.
it's
in
just
them.
I see other apps that list their updates. It just
I do too.
makes
Yeah,
me wonder
I do too.
why.
Yeah, because those are the people that are like, we got nothing to hide
Yeah,
here, you know.
exactly.
And there's plenty of times that Facebook, and it's happened recently in the news, they've gotten
Has
sued.
had something to hide.
They've had breaches, or there was
The-
something that they were doing with where they targeted teenage girls on Facebook in certain ways with certain ads or something. And there was a lawsuit that came of it, and they actually sort of got in trouble for it, like I think some kind of fine.
Which they probably settled.
Yeah, but the whole time it was Zuckerberg saying like, no, we didn't do that, and then them opening up a case, and then they were like, yeah, we kind of did that. And then more info came out, and they just had to walk it back from like, no, we don't do that sort of stuff to okay, yeah, we kind of do that. Like,
Yeah, you caught us.
yeah.
You pried too much.
Which is those are the reasons why Facebook doesn't tell you like this is all the stuff
Yeah.
that we changed, and then people start asking questions.
Yeah, which they should.
It should,
Yeah.
but honestly though, it's so complex at that point with Facebook.
the
Like, do
thing
you
is,
really
like-
want to hear those answers?
the thing
you
is,
know?
you-
So go ahead.
Yeah, you go. Were you talking about
Oh.
like the Congress? Like,
Yeah, the
when they
Congress
asked Mark,
things.
he's like, that's
Oh.
not how the internet works.
He's
Like,
yeah.
He's like, how do you guys make money on that if it's free? And he's like, we run ads.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like there's like two kind of meme sides to that type of conversation. It's like the Congress, just about how they have no idea what's going on,
Right.
and then the other ones were like that Mark Zuckerberg's a robot.
Oh,
'Cause he
right.
like didn't blink and it just looks really.
He can be
creepy.
pretty
And
creepy,
he like
actually.
drinks his water like very.
Yeah.
It's,
Robotic.
Yeah.
I just think some of their responses or their general questions are
Yeah.
nuts.
But like if you think about it, like we opt into this. Like,
Yeah.
We could have
We
read all
do
this.
because we like
we sign up and
we
agree.
like the benefits that it gives us. Like we said earlier, like automation makes our lives easier. Like
Yeah.
we used to have so much difficulty in connecting with a friend that lived in Colorado. Like how am I could call him on the phone, but then that takes a lot of time to just like have a conversation and catch up.
Yeah.
Or I could fly to Colorado. Like now I can just video chat with them
Yeah.
on Facebook,
Well, that's one of the things though too. Like that speech, The Great Dictator one, by Charlie Chaplin, I was showing
Oh, yeah.
earlier. But he talks about how like technology and having this ability to talk over distance actually makes people shut themselves in a
Sure.
lot more, like within their own cells, and
Totally.
Absolutely.
keeps people in their own homes more.
Well, they've talked about like the mental issues that have spiked up in recent years, and the variable that's been there is social media.
Well, they've seen rises in depression and anxiety in recent years.
And
Some
like
of that's
suicides
due to
with kids, stuff like that.
suicide. Some of that's due to opiate addiction
Yeah.
or what was the other one? The fact that we're just getting better at diagnosing mental illnesses as well as we study it more and as
Yeah.
we kind of understand
So
what
we
we're looking
didn't
at.
really understand.
Yeah, so we're
couldn't help.
diagnosing at higher levels because we understand it more, but we're also seeing like if we adjust for that, we're still seeing like a lot
Yeah.
more than we should. And the only thing that like Joe Rogan had a guy on that really
That was a really good episode.
he wrote a book about how like social media and the technology revolution here is the only thing that lines up with these drastic changes
Yeah, and
in
like
depression
mental.
and anxiety in teenagers. And it's you can imagine what that's like. Like I think maybe we're lucky enough that when we went through that very like
we were kind of brought up with the start of it.
well, when we were in that definitional stage of like 11 to 16,
Yeah.
it was MySpace. It was like
It was
it was
AOL,
like the very
dial-up,
first days
yeah.
of the self checkout. It was like this isn't something to be
Netscape
worried about.
communicator.
Yeah.
What if that isn't something along those lines, though, like solely because of the technology itself? But I mean, if you think about like Ben Shapiro talking about
Yeah.
everybody requires that what is it, that wanton life, or that
Oh, they feel
you have to have meaning.
Work.
Meaning in your life.
Yeah.
You always
They
look
have
for
work.
meaning.
You're
That's
talking
what
about
it is.
meaning, okay.
So like if they're going to school and like you can learn, that's one thing about YouTube I love. It's one of the greatest learning tools you
It
could
is.
ever use.
Yeah.
You can go learn how to do anything you want in like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 20 minutes,
Yeah.
however long you want to watch a video.
anything
You
now.
can,
Pretty much,
essentially,
dude.
I mean,
Heart
there's like
surgery.
videos about nuclear physics.
I needed to
and
learn
stuff.
how to change a wheel bearing in a specific brand of tractor the other day, and it told me
It's
exactly how
good.
to do
It's
that.
good for like small scale stuff like that. But
yeah, but
I
you
mean,
know.
you could essentially learn anything. I guarantee you could go look up a heart surgery video because I've watched a bunch of medical
guarantee you,
procedure
but
explanation
you
videos.
can't
and stuff
do it.
along those lines.
you
Can't
still
do
need
what?
that skill. You still need training.
But
But
it's-
there's a lot of stuff
No.
that yes, you can.
Right.
But essentially,
I get what you're saying.
What I was trying to say with that is like a lot of the basic mediocre stuff you do learn in like a high school or middle school environment. If you can learn that all on YouTube and you realize that at young ages, you kind of have less of that meaning when you're going through school and you feel like you're going through more of emotions.
Yeah, but
to
kids
get to
aren't
that
trying to
goal.
learn stuff on YouTube. Kids are watching
Yeah.
like
Well, I mean,
kids flip like water bottles up, you know.
That's not. I mean, that's
Like-
not entirely true though, because I do know a lot of people, and like that's one thing. Even like, because I said I have a VR system myself, an Oculus and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and you would be amazed at some of the musical talent between like. There's like a specific thing on there where people play music in there, and some of these kids are amazing at
Really?
like
Yeah.
musical instruments just from watching YouTube videos.
Really, that's what they tell you that
They-
they're just
I watch music videos of how to learn this specific song. I learn it, then I go to the next
Yeah.
song. And
No, but think
it's
about it.
crazy.
Like you're still missing out on that social connection.
no, I
and
mean,
that's the meaning.
that's the thing.
Like you
That's
talk
the
about
meaning.
everyone needs meaning in life.
Yeah.
There is a very shallow meaning when it comes to this digital form
And
of,
when your face is in the
of
phone
learning
24/7
or
as a kid.
communication. Like sometimes shallow is okay.
Well,
Yeah.
here's
Right,
the thing.
but-
Like he can talk to you on VR chat, but once he takes that headset off, he's alone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
No,
That
yeah.
might be the only friend he has.
No, for sure.
And that's meaningful to
Yeah.
somebody, you know. Like
But at the same
if that's
time,
all
you
they
need
had,
you
yeah.
need that face to face.
Well, yeah, and that's the deepest way to
Yeah.
experience it for sure.
Oh yeah.
And I
But-
think social media and technology has replaced that.
It's de-incentivizing it, right? There's like this incentive to be more digital, to just be with the times, and you know, video chat does. VR is
It-
you
it
know one
crosses it
thing,
a
but
little
like
bit.
video chat, FaceTime is actually a good. It's kind of like moving back in that
It's like that
direction
gray
where you're
area.
getting back to a personal face-to-face kind of deal, but it's still not.
I don't know. I feel like socialization with people you know in like an online environment too, like people you know in person, is a lot different than people you meet randomly.
Sure.
And there are a lot of individuals that do like talk to people and actually form relationships with people that they've never met and end up being on like video game teams and stuff along those lines or whatever. But I feel like it's just how you go about utilizing that tool for
But I
socialization.
think also a lot of those people end up leaving and finding somebody in real life, whether it be somebody they met on there
Yeah.
or somebody they met in real life, and they disconnect. And a lot of people either can't find somebody else or they don't want to.
Yeah.
I feel like these need to be used as tools to help form. I think you can use
They
them
are.
as tools, and people use tools improperly all the time. But I think that level of socialization can actually be acquired.
And I think that's a decent point, right? I think a lot of people, they don't look at it as a tool. They look at it as this like this obligation sometimes, right?
That's true.
It's like this is a machine that I'm a prisoner to, you know.
They use it as a presentation.
Even though they like it, like they get a satisfaction out of
Yeah.
it, right? But it's almost like, oh, woke up, do my thing. I got to check Facebook.
Well, like
gotta do
think
my
about
thing,
it.
you know,
The
like
song "Phone Wallet Keys."
oh yeah, the
Everybody
Adam
needs their
Sandler
phone.
thing.
Like you can't leave your house without your phone.
it's like for the likes. It's for that
Yeah.
presentation.
When's the last time you did that? Left the house without your phone?
And that's what's crazy. It's like we
You know?
need it.
I mean, I've left 10 minutes for work and turned around just to pick my phone up.
Yeah, exactly.
Because I don't.
And
wanna-
like there's,
done
I
that.
mean, there's emergency reasons. You know,
Yeah.
I have a kid.
Yeah.
I always want to make sure.
It's
that I have
always
my
that
phone on me.
benefit, right? It makes
Yeah.
our lives safer or better or whatever, right? And so we take the bad with the good that it gives us. But we've grown to a place where we've almost started neglecting the bad that could come from it. And maybe that's because the government or private businesses have kept those bad ideas, those like evil ideas out of from affecting us. But we know there's been security breaches, identities have been stolen. There's a lot of bad that has
things
come
are much more accessible. Everything is much more accessible.
Right.
But I mean, it's still just crazy. I mean, to think that TVs used to be big square boxes. Now they're flat. We have small ones in our phone.
Yeah, you can
and
carry
now-
like a 55-inch TV with 2 hands.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're
You
like
just need like 8 people.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're even making these foldable. I mean, Samsung's
Oh,
new
yeah.
phone
they're
folds
trying.
in half.
They're trying.
They're trying. It's breaking. It's not doing too well.
That's
but I
right,
mean,
yeah.
all of the every tech phone that came out originally sucked. The first version. So you have to think like
Nah, I played Snake like all the time.
That was great. That was great.
that
fun.
was a
That was
good
my
game.
shit.
Like
I love that meme. Those memes online. I saw
brick
one where the
Nokia.
Nokia,
The
phone
Nokia?
was cemented into the
It still
sidewalk.
works.
Did you
The
see-
phone was sticking out of the sidewalk, and they were like, "I bet it still works."
Did you see the dude with like a shit ton? Like I forget how many volts he put through it, but it like sparked, and it's still turned on.
He's playing
Like
Snake.
this thing
a
probably
minute
would have
later.
killed a person. Like if it fried it.
Yeah.
Nokia.
Yeah, like right. They don't
So
make
that's
things
wrong.
like they used to. You know.
Right.
It's just crazy. I mean, 5 years from now, 4 years from now, even probably, like we're gonna have laptops that can probably fold out into like.
No, I guarantee you
a
it's gonna be
tablet
digital.
or-
You're gonna press a button on your hand, it's gonna show up.
Oh, like those projection
Like an AR,
things.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely possible.
Oh, AR, right? That's
Yeah.
that's augmented
AR is all
reality.
in your glasses.
Yeah.
Like so, there might be.
No, AR is a cross between virtual reality and real reality.
Yeah, but you can see real reality. It's still.
Well, they have those apps on the phone. Like my phone
Yeah.
has a lens thing where like I can walk through an airport and I can just hold my phone up to a sign and it'll
Yeah.
see the text and it'll say like, "Do you want to translate
Oh,
this?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I haven't
Google
even
Glass
taken
does
a
that.
picture. I'm just holding my phone.
Yeah, Google
up.
has one of those apps, like Google
Yeah.
Translate. You can use your camera to
But
translate.
it actually it does it on the screen.
yeah,
for
real
you.
time.
That's what probably going to be one of the biggest breakthroughs is if they get technology like in the size of a contact lens, because not everyone
Yeah.
wants to wear glasses, and I think
Well, they
that's where
do.
like
I've
your
heard they've done
glasses-
that.
They're
yeah.
starting. They have
Yeah.
smart contact lenses.
Do they have
Yeah.
smart contact lenses?
Yeah.
You get like a heads-up display or something.
Yeah, I
like-
think so.
I mean,
But
imagine
that-
just
That's the thing. Like all of these things are in their infancy,
But they're here.
and some of them are going to end up flopping.
Yeah.
You know, but
I mean-
some of them are not.
facial recognition paired with social media paired with a smart contact lens. I look at you, tap a button. It's gonna
Well-
be like Black Mirror
well,
stuff. It pulls up
somebody's-
your
You could just
profile
like
right in
send
my
a thought
eyeball.
to somebody.
Somebody's
Yeah.
developed
Send a
something like
message.
that. I forget what school. This was years ago, but they had like this mirror thing, and they had like a button, and it was like a projector, but like it was able to read the person and like find them on social media. It was like a camera on his chest.
So a guy walks around with a camera on his chest, and
yeah,
then what?
It was like this big kind of like get up. It had like mirrors and like
Yeah.
lasers and stuff.
For
but-
what though?
It would-
Oh, it would get their face,
And then
it would
then
pull up
projected
his.
it, like it was in like the guy either was holding something that he could use as a screen, or
Yeah.
it was on his shirt. I think
Yeah.
it like projected his name and like the information of the guy. Like, he was looking
Onto
at.
the person that he was looking at.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Or no, the person he was looking at would project onto the hologram.
Yeah, like his information of the guy he was looking at was in real, like it was being projected on a screen from
Okay.
his
info.
yeah.
Oh yeah, that sounds.
So like it was able to read this dude and find out who he was.
Yeah, so it's grabbing his face,
Yeah.
it's finding him on
But that's
Facebook.
essentially what
Yeah.
DJ
pulling
said.
up
And
his
this was
profile.
probably within maybe 5-10 years ago. I saw this video.
Oh wow.
I mean, it wasn't pretty.
That'd be so much better. It
was like shitty font.
You are.
I am really
You
horrible.
are
with
Yeah.
names.
pretty
And
bad.
if I would just put on that setting to have like everybody's name directly above their head, like they were in the Sims
Like in
or
The Sims,
something.
yeah. Yeah.
Just
Oh,
start
man.
talking like him.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think like social media is it's like replacing facial interaction and
It's just-
socialization.
Yeah. At the same time, though, I know
It's
for
not, but
me
it isn't.
personally, there are people. Let's call them. To use a terribly overused word, the woke crowd, you know, is like starting
Get out
to
of
I know they're starting to
Stop.
realize that there is something that is
Yeah.
inauthentic and shallow and unhealthy about this sort of like
Yeah.
online social media obsession culture, and people are getting back to the real thing, which is like this kind of thing,
Yeah.
like talking
Face to
face to
face.
face.
And that's the biggest thing is when you talk about the people that are worried about the presentation. They're putting the perfect
Yeah.
Instagram photos.
And that's the thing, they're obsessed
putting
over that.
statuses just for likes. They want to get those likes. They're not actually communicating with these people. When you have those people that really don't converse or have these conversations with people that are actually doing that.
It's replacing like those computer program simulations where you went online and had like a second life.
Oh,
It's almost like it's like you're putting your second life in your social media.
wait, you mean like
That's-
Sims, or you mean like what kind of simulation?
Like where you have like a public forum where you make your own avatar and you can go up and walk to people,
okay.
talk to people.
I never did that.
Well, there was
There's stuff like that.
there was like little games like Habba Hotel and weird stuff. I remember
Stuff like
I
that,
played that
yeah.
one and like even like stupid online. I mean,
Yeah.
it was weird. There's
Yeah.
a lot of them. You
No,
know,
but I feel like a lot of people do that where they like screw my actual life. I'm gonna make it like.
Well, they
my
care
life
more
is
about their
amazing on my
online
social,
life.
social media persona.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and
Which
It's
is
viewed by
terrible.
more people.
Yeah.
Like, what in their mind?
Yeah.
Why would they not do that? You
Yeah,
know, if they're
exactly.
only interacting with 6 people on average
And that,
every
to
day.
me, that has to cause some mental
Yeah.
issue.
when that moves into VR AR, we're gonna be in a very interesting state.
Well, the interesting thing there, I think, is that might be like I said, like video chat was one of those things that kind of brought us.
oh
back
yeah, it
to-
does bring us back. Yeah.
It integrates VR into the real world in a
Yeah.
way that might be like, okay, well, actually, you can start to tap into that old thing that you started
I agree
missing
with
out
that
on.
too because you're not looking at just a profile. You're actually there having a real
Right.
conversation with somebody.
Right.
You look at like HoloLens. Like
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure if that
Is
project.
that Microsoft?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Microsoft. But like they were doing video chats and like he had like a motorcycle and he was able like with special gloves like move the rendering.
Oh, rotate it
And he
and
could
stuff.
rotate it and he could like draw pictures on video and
Yeah.
like that's
Did you ever see that table that's like it has all of these square slats in it, and
I have
the
seen
person can move his hands underneath the hologram, and it literally
Yep.
makes his hands right there in front of the person that's across the country. And he's like, this guy's playing with a fake ball at his
crazy.
apartment, and he's actually throwing and catching a ball with these like slats across the world.
You were showing those art installations that did
Yeah.
the reflection where there was
Was that
like
like
a
that
camera in
cube
the
thing?
middle. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that, what he's talking about, but except it's like way more
It's like-
advanced.
yeah,
Because
that's
it's like
crazy.
real time and it just picks up all of
that's crazy.
the
All of his
features of your
movements.
hands or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you look at like prosthetics too. Like it's
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
could
you
we
showed
could
me
go on
that.
for hours. Yeah.
Bio like interface.
Yeah,
where,
it's like a plug and play.
It's
like
crazy.
they open the box, plug it in, and it's like
and they're like, holy crap,
They
I can
can
move my
move.
hand. Like they
Even
can't.
like prosthetics. I mean, we didn't even. There's so much we could hit on, but
Yeah.
3D printing. I showed you
Yeah.
that article
Yeah.
the other day. They 3D printed a human heart with human
Oh,
cells.
yeah.
yeah.
So like, not only did they 3D print a
They
heart,
used
but
human
they
cells.
used human cells to.
Well, they're
3D
building
print this
houses
heart.
too with 3D printers.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just
So
there's
3D
there's so
prints, like,
many
yeah.
there's so many things that are gonna, and this is just the tip of the iceberg too. Like we're saying,
Oh,
this is
yeah.
almost
Like,
scary that it's the beginning.
These are just like couple different aspects. Of,
Because like a lot of these things, right? They're like we're saying with the self checkouts, like they seem like they're just gonna flop, but
yeah.
give them 10 years.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
in 10 years, what was 10 years ago? 2009.
yeah.
I mean, self-driving or the self-checkouts were out in 2000. I don't think it. Really?
Maybe
in
I think in a few
select
places, like in the
places?
big cities
Yeah.
and stuff. Maybe I don't know. It's
I feel like
on the scale
they're
of
probably
a decade,
in their
you know?
elementary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, these things aren't just gonna flop and die. Like they show promise in benefiting our lives, but they also have like pretty significant downsides.
Yeah.
They definitely do.
And that's the thing. Like
Yeah,
that's why
because
we
there's
want
always one item that's placed in the bagging area you need to take out
to. There you go.
all the time.
And you don't want to miss that. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
like we said, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We might have to have another
Yeah.
another
we
conversation
could,
on this.
Yeah.
we could talk about totally different areas that we didn't even touch on today, and
Oh,
still
yeah.
do another hour on that.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, easily.
but yeah, there's no stopping that train, right?
No.
The best we can do is understand it, like we try to on a daily basis, and really just be like honest about what
Yeah.
possibilities we see in the
And we have to
future and
kind
try
of
to
be real.
prepare for them.
We have to kind of be
you know?
real about it. Like,
I just think looking at the outlook as being all the technologies as we have together.
what?
The outlook.
The outlook, like we have to have on like the possibilities for the future is like taking all of these technological advances we have and
What
smacking
do you
them
think the
together in
outlook
one
is?
product.
What do I think the outlook is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it could potentially be very dangerous.
Of
But
course.
I think it would, like you said, it would make things much more efficient.
tinfoil hatter NSA
Yeah.
guy over here.
No, I'm just saying, like,
I'm kind of with
No,
you.
I
man.
mean-
but the thing is, I'm not saying it's gonna happen. I'm just saying
it can.
if the situation is correct,
Mhm.
then it can. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's entirely possible.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
I mean, the level of hacking there is, and
Yeah.
people.
Well, that's all it needs is that one person who either has the right amount of money and pays somebody who doesn't have the moral, or ethical standards somebody else does, or somebody
Right.
who doesn't have those.
That's the
ethical
thing. We
standards.
can't trust the world to have
Yeah.
the ethics that we do.
I mean, I know Elon Musk is Batman, but he could easily be a villain too. You know.
Yeah.
Exactly, and that's all it takes is one trigger.
Just one guy. Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we'll be able to pick him out of the crowd, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Well, until then, we'll just keep talking about these kind of things and try to stay ahead of them.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, see what we get into next week.
Yeah,
We haven't
sounds
even picked an episode yet, so
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
we'll figure it out.
Yeah,
Maybe something good.
absolutely.
Maybe something like this. Who knows?
Yeah, this is fun.
All right.
Take it easy.